Hello, beautiful people. How are y'all feeling today? I hope you guys are feeling spectacular. Today we are getting right into the energy reading for the week of November 30th. Get ready, guys. It's going to be a fun-filled ride. We're going to be focusing on the mind and focusing on the details of our life, as well as the larger grand scale picture of things and that ooey gooey love. We are kicking this week off with some very powerful energy, and Spirit definitely has something to say about that one. We have the Nine of Wands. So we are kicking off the week with the full moon in Gemini lunar eclipse on Monday, November 30th. The Gemini full moon is going to be opposing the sun in Sagittarius. So right now we are really going to be exploring the Gemini Sagittarius axis. We had two more cards that wanted to come up. Oh, I love it. The Fool and the Six of Wands. Wonderful. If you guys want to dive a little deeper into the Gemini full moon lunar eclipse, I did do a reading for that, which I will link up here somewhere. So feel free to check that out if you're curious about the learnings of this full moon eclipse. It packs a wallop, I will say that much. So just to talk briefly about the full moon, the Gemini Sagittarius axis is being lit up right now. So with that being said, the Gemini and Sagittarius axis is focused on the mind, right? The Gemini axis being the lower mind and more concerned with everyday details, as well as problem solving logically. When we look at the other side of the mental axis, we have Sagittarius, which is all about that expansion, all about that freedom and exploring the unknown. So with the Sagittarius part of the axis, we are very much going to be focused on the larger picture and thinking about things from a grander scale, almost like from a higher perspective. This full moon lunar eclipse is also very much inviting us to let go and create peace within ourselves for the things that have passed so far this year, especially since last eclipse season. So if you guys can think back to maybe the learnings from that and everything that has transpired over the last 6 months. As we're reflecting on the last 6 months and examining all the beautiful growth that's happened since then and looking at what we need to let go of in order to move on and change and start the next leg of our journey, let's take some time for ourselves to really be proud of how far we've come. Five of Wands. Another learning from this full moon eclipse is very much looking at the everyday details of our lives and how we can create incremental change by focusing on those things, maybe in our relationship to social media, in our relationships in general, our relationship to self, our relationship to food. Relationships are the theme right now. And beginning on Tuesday, December 1st, we have Mercury finally moving into Sagittarius. So here we will very much be focusing on our expansion of knowledge, our quest for freedom, and expanding our worldview perspective in general. We're really being called to bring into question the status quo, right? But from a curious mindset of what we can change and where we'd like to go moving forward from here. And Mercury and Sagittarius can be quite chatty, you know, so there's going to be a lot of back and forth with ideas, and we also have to be mindful of how to put these plans into action because Mercury and Sagittarius is not the most supportive placement for that. Don't worry guys, Mercury in Sag has other benefits and strengths. And the last aspect we will be talking about today is Venus in Scorpio trining Neptune in Pisces, and this will be happening from Friday, December 4th to Saturday, December 5th. So with this supportive aspect that is happening right now, we'll really be more attuned to what our deepest, darkest, most secret desires are, okay? And I don't say dark in a negative context. what I mean when I say that is things that are previously maybe were in shadow. So in the subconscious, not yet in our conscious awareness. So this stuff is really being brought to our attention right now. What are desires that maybe you haven't fully admitted or simply weren't aware of even having? Specifically, desires relating to relationships. So romantic partnerships, friendships, even your relationship with yourself. What makes you feel nurtured? What makes you feel held and supported? And with Neptune now moving direct in its home sign of Pisces, we're receiving this beautiful infusion of this dreamy, imaginative, creative, romantic energy. So what's also being lit up during this time, and the last card to pop out today is the Hierophant, is our connection to the arts and the creative sides of ourselves. So take some time to explore all those various factors, right? I mean, that's the good stuff in life. So really grab a hold of this romantic energy that's coming in and grab a partner, make out with them or don't. All right, guys, let's dive right into this reading today. So the first card to pop out is the Nine of Wands. And as you can see, this guy looks a little forlorn. So he this is like trauma survival guy, right? Like, we're kind of in this state right now of, okay, we've been to battle, we've seen some stuff, right? And now how do we go forward with all this traumatic baggage that we now have? So a big part of the energetic learning of the Nine of Wands is really to examine our past traumas, right? All full moons really are about releasing, especially when in combination with a lunar eclipse. So it's all about letting go of the stuff that no longer feels good for us and the stuff that is really inhibiting our personal empowerment and blossoming into our fullest versions, right? So really taking into account what is working for me and what's not working for me. And maybe for some of you, I'm getting a message that there are relationships specifically that we need to be releasing. And this could even be a relationship within yourself, maybe a past version of you. So with the self-work and releasing our past versions, holding them with gentleness and gratitude for getting us to where we are now, and also recognizing, this is not how I want to continue to move forward into the world. This is no longer how I want to show up for myself, for others, and I can choose my state of being. And same thing when we're releasing these relationships from our lives, right? We can acknowledge the gratitude and the joy and the learning that's come from them. And at some point too, we have to be willing to let these things go. And when we do the work, when we do the internal healing and the action steps, that is when we can kind of move away from poor PTSD guy mentality here, and we start to kind of come into this journey of the Fool. So embracing this beautiful, expansive new beginning with a curious beginner's mindset. So I really love the Fool. Like, I love this card. He gets a bad rap for kind of being like this airheaded special dude that's gonna just fall off this cliff right here. But you know what? The Fool is such a beautiful representation of the innocence and hopefulness that we all have during new beginnings, and this is a good thing. This is a beautiful state to embody. So with the Fool's journey, we're all kind of embarking on this new beginning, right? And the last several months, especially since October leading up to the equinox, December 21st, we've really been exploring the new beginnings that we want to create. And with that comes this beautiful, hopeful mindset. And also a beautiful part of the Fool's journey is to look back in remembrance and celebrate our victories and the things that we are proud of. The Six of Wands embodies this energy. So take a little bit of time for yourselves this week, guys, and really reflect and ask yourselves, what am I actually proud of that I've done in this last year, right? It's been such a challenging year for all of us, and also a really beautiful year. So what in particular can you celebrate? What joys has this year brought you? What are you grateful for? Take some time to tune in to that high vibing gratitude vibration and adopt that attitude of gratitude, y'all. The next card we have is the Five of Wands. So we got some conflict going on. It's gonna happen. And this is not a negative thing. I feel like conflict gets such a negative connotation when really conflict is essential for our growth. Now, how we choose to have this conflict, however, is another discussion entirely. So this conflict could arise internally. Maybe there's a creative venture that you want to start and you're at odds with yourself and butting heads with the different voices in your mind, right? And unsure of how to begin this new journey. This conflict could also manifest for some of us who are in partnership right now as a conflict with our loved one in order to present an opportunity for higher levels of intimacy, for vulnerability, for showing up fully. And I'm also hearing for some of us that there is going to be some internal conflict in our relationship to food. Okay, so a lot of us right now, especially with the Gemini-Sag axis being lit up right now, in order to create those little incremental changes that we want to make on a daily basis, one of those things has to do with the body, right? And how we take care of our body. So for some of us, our conflict comes to, okay, I know I need to make these tiny daily changes, and I'm still tempted by whatever your vice is. For me, it's a vegan cheesecake, so just gonna put it out there. So when we are experiencing these conflicts, whether internally or externally in the world around us, it is so important for us to remember to hold space in a loving, kind, compassionate manner. It doesn't matter if this is with someone else or with yourself. Creating a safe space for the conflict to occur and to allow the higher growth to come through is going to be the most beneficial way to begin. And as much as the Aries in me would like to just, sometimes punch someone in the face, guess what? That isn't the most effective way to problem solve and to communicate. And our final card for today is the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is really inviting us to become our own spiritual authority figure. The Hierophant can also represent institutions of higher learning and marriage and spiritual power in general. However, I believe that the deeper learning with the Hierophant is inviting us to stop outsourcing our power and really take that back for ourselves. Really becoming our own spiritual leader, our own spiritual authority. Because guess what, guys? You and me, baby, we are divine. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a place for learning, there isn't a place for mentorship, because there totally is. That is also very important to our journey. However, humanity as a whole right now, our collective consciousness is being called to really own our power, to step fully into it and take responsibility, take ownership for ourselves. And part of this journey is stepping in to that place of autonomy and sovereignty. I'm going to be drawing one final card today, and I'm drawing a card from my Ancient Animal Wisdom deck, which I absolutely love. I really like this reading so far for us, and there is a lot of firepower here, which is not surprising with the sun being in Sagittarius, as well as Mercury moving into Sagittarius as well. So we do need to be mindful of the ways in which we are choosing to communicate, and take note of the fiery energy that is surrounding us right now. And I want to invite us to really explore this week. What new beginnings are we seeking to celebrate? What is our vision for that? What are our goals? What are our goals in partnership, in creativity, in career, in wellness? I'd be curious to hear what your goals right now are, so drop me a comment in the section below and let me know. All right, so the card that we have for today is the Wildebeest. Love the artwork of this deck. So the wildebeest is a herd animal that is migratory, meaning they move around from season to season, and we as humans are very much the same. So throughout the seasons of our lives, we're going to move, we're going to shift, we're going to change, we're going to metamorphosize, is that a word? We're going to evolve. And the wildebeest is really reminding us to consider what direction we want to move towards next by tuning into our own intuition, going inward. Those of you who know me know that I'm all about going internally, and as well as receiving divine inspiration, right? So making sure that you are centered, making sure that you are grounded in order to hear what your higher self is trying to say to you. Tuning into that beautiful source energy. These two cards right here are very much encouraging us to embark on a new journey. It is time to break away from the old, the stagnant, what you know is not fulfilling you and bringing you joy. So for some of us, this is going to mean some travel and a change in location. And for others of us, it is simply having a fresh start. And this could even be in the context of a current situation. Even if we just change our mindset towards a thing, right? We can give ourselves a fresh start at any time, anywhere. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope this reading served you well. If it did and you want to dive a little deeper, DM me on Instagram at lotuscoaching13. I am still doing my full moon special for tarot readings, 20% off through December 3rd. And if you really want to work on some goal setting like we talked about during this reading, and dive a little deeper and break free from some limiting beliefs that you may have, DM me on Instagram at lotuscoaching13. I am offering pay what you can coaching sessions through the end of 2020. So please join me there. I would love to connect with you. Thank you, and have a beautiful rest of your week.